Hello, welcome back to the Daily Solve. I'm Chris Ramo, and today I'm going to be solving a cryptic crossword. Now, the reason the screen is blanked out is because I've already solved this, and I wanted to cover up the grid to prevent spoilers. What you can see, what spoiler remains, is that this took me over an hour to solve, and that's because I'm no expert when it comes to cryptic crosswords, but I've tackled one of these on the channel because, the New York Times published it. They seem to do one of these every couple of months or so, and I thought this might be instructive if you're interested in cryptic crosswords and you wanted a bit of a primer how to go about solving these. So I've tried to really talk through in detail how each clue works, and to be honest, as I said, because I'm no expert, part of the time is simply my own puzzling through how this works, and often reverse engineering how the clue works from determining the answer. So I hope you enjoy this. It is longer than and a bit more labor intensive, you could say, than my typical solves on this channel. But if you'd like me to do more of these, do let me know. The New York Times cryptic crosswords are a bit more accessible than many British cryptic crosswords because they rely, it's not just because of the difference between an American and a British cultural context. It's actually that British cryptic crosswords tend to use a much bigger sort of tool chest of very specific cryptic crossword terms and abbreviations and mechanics that are less, that you don't see as often in the New York Times cryptic crosswords, which tend to have a little bit less of that esoterica. So they are actually I think a little bit better for an audience less accustomed to solving cryptics. So they're nice in that regard. And I'm going to attempt to tackle the most recent one today. So with that, I hope you enjoy it. I will jump back to the original recording, and here is my hour-long solve of the most recent New York Times cryptic crossword. This is actually my fourth bonus solve today. I've already recorded 3 bonus videos for the Patreon campaign, so I'm sort of running out of free time. So there's a chance I won't be able to solve this at once and may have to pause the video halfway through. But maybe I'll just plow through this and that won't be an issue. Kind of doubt it, but let's see. All right, I've paused the timer, and I'm going to resume it now. So I think the best way to explain the workings of a cryptic crossword is just to work through some clues. And let's see, smart Arab leader, we hear. Smart Arab leader, we hear. Okay. So the way that a cryptic crossword clue works is that there tends to be it's not always at the beginning or the end of the clue, but almost always, 99% of the time, at the beginning or end of the clue is a straight definition. And so in this clue, smart Arab leader we hear, the definition could be smart, could be smart Arab, although that would seem sort of odd, so it probably isn't the case. Could be smart Arab leader, pretty unlikely. It's probably either smart or here, or we hear. In this case, I think it's smart. And let's say it is. Let's assume it is, because in this case it is. That means the rest of the clue will be what's called the wordplay. And the wordplay is how it's an alternative method to arrive at the answer. So what we need is a word that means smart, or a word, and that same word can be described with the wordplay. So Arab leader, we hear. And I think how this works in this particular case, we hear is a common homophone indicator in cryptic crosswords in the wordplay. So what that often means is that we're going to take a word that means Arab leader, and we're going to need a homophone of it. So we hear the word Arab leader, and it sounds like another word. And in this case, this word means smart. And I think what's going on here is that Arab leader could be a sheikh or a chic. You might pronounce it chic. And what is a homophone of chic? It is C-H-I-C, chic, which means smart. If you think smart in the sense of well-dressed, nattily dressed, smartly dressed, chic. And it's very, very, very common. In fact, I would say it most frequently works this way, that the definition will be a different sense of the word than the one that is being used in what's called the surface reading, the sort of straightforward reading of this. So smart Arab leader would suggest a leader who is intelligent. But in this case, we're using a different meaning of smart. We're using smartly dressed. So chic. Let's see. Singer in decline unexpectedly receives love. And unlike the New York Times style crossword, we're told that there are two words, and the first word is of 6 letters in length, and the second word is 4 letters in length. So that's information we're not given in a New York Times style crossword, but we are in Cryptics. I'm not sure offhand. Let's look at this. Seek information in a collection of papers. Seek information in a collection of papers. So the definition could be seek, could be seek information, could be papers or collection of papers. A collection of papers could be a folder, a dossier. Dossier would fit 7. Papers could be a ream. I mean, it depends if we don't, let's see. Seek, inspect, seek information. Information could be intel or info. In a collection of papers. Info. Boy, I'm not having great luck with these two, am I, yet? Let's see. What about 12 across? Innocent eye entering church area. I might just be the letter I, to be honest. I see what this is. So I think innocent is the definition. And so this is another type of common indicator in a cryptic crossword. Entering, often what this sort of word will mean, something that deals with something being inside something else, entering, going into something, means we're going to put a letter or letters inside of another word or collection of letters. In this case, we're going to put the letter I inside something that means church area. Well, one part of a church physically is a nave. And if we put the letter I inside of nave, we get the word naive, which means innocent. Does that help here? Let's seek information in a collection of papers. Boy, I'm just not seeing that. That is frustrating. What about this? Most extensive low-grade pain. Most extensive low-grade pain. Low-grade pain. Okay. So I think most extensive is the definition, and low-grade pain will be the wordplay. So low-grade pain, we'll have to figure out what letters are coming from low-grade pain. Hold on, I don't fully get this yet, but I think most extensive, if we do think most extensive is going to be the definition, and it doesn't have to be, but I think in this case it is, it'll probably end with est, right? Because it's most extensive, it's a superlative, it's the somethingest of something. And a low grade. So remember, you have to think outside of the surface reading. This makes it seem like low grade means is an adjective describing pain. But in this case, I think we're actually, often you have to ignore punctuation in a cryptic crossword clue in order to understand the wordplay. And here I think a low grade is probably a D. Right, I see. And then a pain, if someone is a pain, you might call them a pest. And so we have low grade pest, D pest. D is low grade phonetically. And so that creates the answer deepest or most extensive. So how about that? And what about this? Singer in decline unexpectedly receives love. Singer or love or receives love. Why do I not see this? And here, seek information in a collection of papers. Could a collection of papers be a file? Does that help at all? Seek information in a file. Why do I not see this? It's very frustrating. I'm no cryptic crossword expert. You'll have to bear with me. High point, first lady meeting the others. Okay, I see this. So first lady, the first thing that came to mind to me was Eve, because if you think the first lady in the biblical book of Genesis, there you can already see there are two places you could put Eve. You could put it here, or you could put it here. Those would, well, yeah, you could put it here as well, I suppose. This is unlikely because this would be at the end of the clue, and it's sort of hard to understand why first lady would end up at the end of the answer. But it might have occurred to you after I put it in the first one that this sort of looks like Everest, and Everest is a high point. So maybe high point is the definition, and then first lady is Eve, and then meeting. In this case, meeting isn't. It just means first lady. The word that we're using for first lady, Eve, is just going to be next to the word for the others. And what's another word for the others? The rest. So if we put Eve next to rest, we get Everest, Mount Everest, a high point. So there we have that. What about this? Spoken about peace in revolution. Spoken about peace in revolution. So this could be spoken about peace. It could be another homophone indicator, spoken about. It could be something that rhymes with peace in revolution. Turn or revolution. Revolt in revolution. Often when I'm solving cryptic crosswords on my own, I'll sort of just put things into the crossword. I'll just sort of type things into the grid to think, well, if I'm putting something inside revolution, can I put something inside of turn or something like that? Rotate, maybe? Spoken about peace and rotate. Yeah, rotate doesn't really work. What about this? What was this? Oh, I haven't looked at this yet. Rushing stream split below rocky peak. Rushing stream split. Stream split below rocky peak. Rushing. And often what I'll do, I've really struggled presenting these on video because I'm so much less adept at them than I am the New York Times style, which I've been doing for so many years. These I am not adept at. So I'm going to jump around a lot, finding the clues I can answer, and then hopefully using those to get some crosses. Sporting contest mostly tied. I suspect what this is going to be is a definition sporting contest, and then most of the word that means tied. Is there a way that game can make that? Gamed. Mostly tied. United sporting contest? No. Boy, I'm not seeing that either. I'm very sorry. Let's see. Tearing apart material for monuments. T-R-I-A. Okay. Tearing apart material for monuments. Here we have he painted urban transport, seniors test, and deadly gas. 2-5. So this is two words, a 2-letter word and a 5-letter word. Now, I have to be honest, I'm going to jump straight to a guess as to an answer here. I suspect this is El Greco because that's the name of a painter. So if the definition is he painted, if the definition is simply he painted, it could be referring to a painter, and El Greco would be a painter's name, or painter's sort of pen name, I suppose. I don't know what you'd call it in this case, but his chosen name that matches that format. So now does that work? Urban transport, seniors test, and deadly gas. Urban transport could be an L, EL, for an L train, an elevated train. So urban transport could refer to EL. Oh yeah, seniors test could refer to GRE. So GRE in the United States is a test that it's used for graduate school admissions, I believe. And deadly gas, CO, is that carbon monoxide? Is that CO? See, that would make sense, right? Carbon and then one oxygen, carbon monoxide. So that must be it. So I think that is El Greco. What was this again? Rushing stream split below rocky peak. Oh, a torrent, maybe, a rushing stream, a torrent. Now, honestly, this might be different for people who are extremely experienced cryptic crossword solvers, but in my case, often what I'll have to do is I'll have to get the definition and then sort of reverse engineer why the wordplay makes sense. And in that case, that's what I've done. I'm thinking a rushing stream might be a torrent. So can we figure out why that is? Yes, a rocky peak is a tor, a word for a dramatic mountain, a tor. And then, so we're going to put something below that. So rocky peak is at the top, and then below it is split. Ah, indeed. And if something has been split in two, it has been rent, torn apart. It has been rent, it has been split. So that is indeed what that is. I haven't looked at this yet. One endless line in both directions for something to drink. One endless line in both directions for something to drink. In both directions. I wonder if in both directions means left and right and then something in between it, because there's an R at the end here. Could it be linear? If it was one endless line? I don't really see how that works. For something to drink. One endless line in both directions for something to drink. Tear. Boy, what is that? Sorry if you're seeing these things. Seek information in a collection of papers. Let's try this again. Seek information in a collection of papers. Seek information. Collection of papers. I want this to start with IN or IM. I'm just not getting it. That is so frustrating. What was this again? Singer in decline unexpectedly receives love. Oh. In decline unexpectedly. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, in decline unexpectedly receives love. I wonder, okay, so unexpectedly might be an anagram indicator. So something that comes up frequently in cryptic crosswords is that you'll have to anagram words. You'll have to rearrange their letters to create new words. So what I'm thinking is in decline has 9 letters, and unexpectedly might be telling us to take the letters in decline, rearrange them, and then maybe receives love. Love could be O for, maybe it could be O or L, maybe L for love, or O for representing a 0 for the score of love in tennis. Does that help? So then the answer would be singer or possibly singer, maybe if it was something that singes. So in decline. Sometimes when I'm solving an anagram, I'll turn on the pencil tool and I'll just sort of type the letters in, and it helps me. Oh, Celine Dion. Never mind. Okay, I don't need to do that. Okay. Celine Dion is indeed a singer. So, and right. Okay, I shouldn't have put the O at the end. I was right that love becomes an O, but I shouldn't have put it at the end because this receives means that the letters we're anagramming from in decline, they receive love. They receive the O. The O goes inside of them. It doesn't go at the end. It could be something, if it were at the end, it maybe could be phrased something like singer in decline unexpectedly ends up with love or something like that. But it wasn't. It was receives love. So the O goes inside those letters. So Celine Dion, hopefully that all made sense. What was this again? Right. Oh, spoken about peace and revolution. Orated? Spoken about, orated, oration. Spoken about peace in revolution. Spoken about peace, oral revolution. Oh, I'm still not seeing it somehow. Spoken about peace in revolution. And then what was this up here? One endless line in both directions for something to drink. Oh, it does. Look at that. Okay, interesting. So maybe that in both directions was an appropriate inference to draw. So something is inside of both directions, left and right, L and R. One endless line for something to drink. Well, actually, endless line could be L-I-N. In other words, the word line without its end. Why did I think linear fit there? It doesn't. What was I thinking? I don't know. One endless line in both directions. In both directions for something to drink. Boy, I feel as though I'm right here and I'm just not seeing it. I'm sorry if you're screaming at me about this. Seek information in a collection of papers. Now this I feel like I should be able to get as well. Seek information in a collection of papers. What was this? People coming together. Oh, I don't think I've seen this yet. Let's look at something different. People coming together rather late at night to perform a ballet. People coming, so it could be people coming together, people perform a ballet, a ballet. And what is this? Occupied with strange need to suppress joke. Occupied with strange need. Occupy could be busy. Suppress joke. Or joke. Could it be snigger? That's sort of the sound someone makes when they try to suppress a joke. So how does that work? Occupied with strange need. Ah, no. Occupied with strange need. I mean, this could be the wrong word. It does fit the potential definition, though. What am I not seeing? Occupied with strange need to suppress joke. God, maybe it's not the answer. Boy, it fits a definition so well, though. That's frustrating. Make blue wrinkle. Make blue wrinkle. Oh. Depress? You make blue, you depress somebody, wrinkle. Right, I see. So wrinkle has a question mark, so there's a bit of a pun going on here. So to press something, if you press something, you iron it, and you get rid of the wrinkles. So you could say to depress something is to add, is to wrinkle it, so to speak. So I do think that's what it is. Okay, so this is not snigger. So occupy with strange need to suppress joke. Occupied with strange need to suppress joke. Could be occupied, could be the definition. Oh, engaged would mean occupied. So how does this, can I find this one? Occupied is the definition, and then strange need to suppress joke. So strange need could be an anagram indicator of need. So we could rearrange the letters in need, and then they could suppress, yes, okay. So need has been made strange. Essentially, the letters have been rearranged. So N-E-E-D. D. And then it's going to suppress or sort of encompass a joke or a gag. So here we have a strange need to suppress a word for joke, and then that makes engaged, which means occupied. All right, tearing apart material for monuments. Now, my first thought here when I saw tearing apart was that maybe material is anagrammed. The phrase tearing apart suggests maybe we need to rearrange the letters of material, but it didn't fit in the cells allotted, and also now we know there's a G there, so that's not going to work. Tearing apart material for monuments. And what was this again? People coming together rather late at night to perform a ballet. Duck down to do yard work. Haven't seen this yet, I don't think. Duck down to do yard work. Oh, I see. Oh, this is clever. So the definition, I think, is duck. And one bit of yard work, to do yard work, you could say to do yard work is to perform a piece of yard work, to rake. You could say, I'm going to do yard work, I'm going to rake. That's, they're close enough. And then down, you could often consider an abbreviation for down in many contexts to be simply the letter D. And when you combine down to do yard work, down and to do yard work, you get D, rake, or drake. And a drake is a male duck. And so the definition is duck. And so that's it. Now I suspect I know what this is. So I think here the definition is material for monuments, perhaps. Maybe granite. Oops. You could construct a monument out of granite. And so how does that work? Tearing apart material for monuments. Tearing apart. Or is it? Does that actually work? Tearing apart. I don't know, maybe not. I thought material for monuments would be granite, but I don't see how that matches to tearing apart, so maybe that's wrong. Oh, sorry. Well, maybe not. Sporting contest mostly tied. What was this? We haven't looked at this yet. Offensive word chanted amid uproar. I'm wondering if word chanted is ole, which is a common football chant. And then we have word chanted amid uproar. So offensive would be the first bit of the wordplay, and uproar would be the definition, presumably. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. Sorry if you are. People coming together rather late at night to perform a ballet. To perform a ballet. Oh. Well, rather late at night could be at 10. You could say at 10 would be rather late at night. So then if at 10 is the beginning of the answer, then that would make people coming together, attendance, that is, because dance would be perform a ballet. So we have rather late at night at 10, and perform a ballet is dance. And that all comes together to spell the word attendance, or people coming together to attend an event. Attendance, there we go. So now we have sporting contest. I was on completely the wrong track with sporting contest mostly tied. I thought it would be a word that means sporting contest, and the word would be most of a word that means tied. It's just the opposite. I was on the right track, but completely in the opposite direction, which I guess is a metaphor that actually holds for a sporting contest. On the right track, running the wrong direction. It's actually a word that means tied, and it's going to be most of a word for a sporting contest. So what is a word for a sporting contest? Well, one such word would be event, and if we take most of the word event, we get even or tied. All right, so here once again we have offensive word chanted amid uproar. Oh, an uproar could be a noise? Yeah. Ah, okay, I had the wrong word chanted. So it's noisome, or offensive, word for offensive. And the way we get that is that we have a word chanted, which is om, a common chant in certain sort of meditative practice, I suppose. And then that word, the word chanted is amid, is sort of in the middle of an uproar or a noise. So you can see the word noise is spelled out here, and then amid it, inside of it, is a word chanted, om. So this really does look like granite, doesn't it? Tearing apart, why can I not identify what makes granite? I mean, it must be granite. Tearing apart material for monuments. I mean, oh. All right. I thought at one point maybe tearing apart was an anagram indicator, but I think it's actually simply apart that is an anagram indicator. So in fact, it's actually much more straightforward than I was making it. We're taking the word tearing, we're taking it apart, and if we rearrange the letters in tearing, if we anagram them, they spell granite. So granite is then a material for monuments. All right, we're making some progress. Boy, it's only taken me 29 minutes. Good Lord. All right, spins or shakes cans. Spins or shakes cans. Spins or shakes cans. Well, probably ends with an S either way. All of these words end in an S, so the answer probably will as well. Does that help with 28 across at all? Spark inside of steeple. Wonder if it could be something that means spark inside of the word of. Spark inside of, does that help? To mean steeple? I don't know if that's really helping. What else can we look at that's short? That's always helpful. Well, here we have a couple of crosses. It's the spoken about peace and revolution. Boy, that's frustrating that I can't get that. Here's a 4-letter word. Part of the leg, a little lower. Part of the leg, a little... Oh, wait. Ah, okay. Here we have what you could call a double definition. So this is another category. This is another type of cryptic wordplay in which there are two halves of the clue, and each one essentially defines the answer. Oops. So part of the leg would be the sort of, I don't know, straightforward definition. The answer is literally going to be a part of the leg. Wait, hold on. I thought I'd solved this a moment ago. Now I forget what I thought the answer was. No, I did. Right. Sorry. Part of the leg is literally the definition. And then a little lower, we can see this is actually less strict usually in British cryptic crosswords, this question mark convention. In the New York Times cryptic crosswords, it tends to follow the meaning of the question mark in New York Times daily crosswords, which again, that's if you solve British cryptic crosswords, they don't tend to use the question mark quite in the same strict way the New York Times does. But what this means is that here, in this case, a little lower is a bit of a pun. And what that means is a little creature that lows, that moos, that emits that sort of lowing sound. And that would be a calf, a young cow. And a calf is also a part of the leg. So it's sort of a double definition. We have one standard definition and one sort of cryptic or punny definition. Okay, does that help here? Sci-fi character and certain Christian in opposition. Sci-fi character and certain Christian in opposition. Sci-fi character and certain Christian in opposition. In opposition could be anti-something, but that would be at the beginning of the word, which would be sort of surprising. Sci-fi character, I mean, it could be Alf, the alien from the 1980s and 90s sitcom Alf? And certain Christian in opposition. Certain Christian could be a saint, ST, or... And sci-fi character could be an alien. And certain Christian in opposition. Oh, this is one of those clues where there are a lot of little bits you could work with, but I don't know which are the correct ones. Sci-fi character. Sci-fi character could be an ET, an extraterrestrial, but I don't know. They provide protection for long hair. They provide protection for long hair. Hair could be locks. Locks could be something that provides protection for long hair. For long. I'm not immediately seeing what that is. Does that help here at all? Among all our destinations is a pilgrimage site. Among all our destinations. Oh, okay. This is good. This is another category of cryptic clue. So this is a, I don't remember what this is called, hidden word or something like that, maybe. But if you see among, what this, I mean, it might mean a number of things. Among might mean you put a letter inside of another letter. It might mean all number of things. But in this particular case, what among means is that we're going to find a word meaning a pilgrimage site, which is the definition, inside of the words all our destination. And if we look, we can spell out the word Lords, Lord. It's the French pilgrimage site, Our Lady of Lourdes, Lourdes. There's a natural spring there. And it's been spelled out. So it's among these words we find this destination. So hopefully that actually fits the number of letters. It does. Okay, so that's the answer. A pilgrimage site, Lourdes. And that means this is not locks at the end, but it's always good to have something. It's almost as good to have a guess denied as it is to have it confirmed. Okay, so spoken about peace in revolution. I feel as though I should be able to get this by now, but I'm just not seeing it. That's incredibly frustrating. Oh, okay. Orbital, perhaps. No? Oh, yes. Orbital. Does that help? Spoken about. Yes. So spoken about could be oral. Or no, it's spoken is, sorry, about is not part of it. It's just spoken. Spoken means oral, an oral exam, a spoken exam. And then it's about, in other words, in this case, it's surrounding a piece or a bit, a piece of something, a bit of something, or a piece that you're performing, a bit you're performing. And so it's spoken about piece, oral, surrounding bit, makes revolution or orbital. Oh, I'm relieved to finally get one of these that's been plaguing me. City in Colorado, not Little Rock. I assume the definition here is going to be a city in Colorado, and the answer is Boulder. So let's see if we can figure out why that is. Yes, okay. Not Little Rock. A boulder is not a little rock, it's a big rock. So here the definition is city in Colorado, and the answer, the wordplay is not Little Rock. And what's another way to say not Little Rock, Boulder? A big one, big rock. Oh, haven't seen this yet. Crazy sisters tied up, both topless. I'm wondering if both topless means we're going to have two words, maybe two of the same word, and each of them is missing its first letter, perhaps? Topless? Crazy sisters, crazy. Is there a way sisters could be anagrammed? I don't think so. Crazy. Something. Sisters. Sisters could be S. Trying to think if I can find one word that I could repeat to make both of them topless. Both, or it could be a word for both. that is missing a letter. Oh, unsound could mean crazy. Does that work? So, oh, bound. Oh, yeah, okay, so I don't have all of it yet, but tied up could be bound. You tie someone up, you bind them, so tied up is bound. And that's topless, so it's missing the B. And then sisters, a word for, sisters, nuns. So you have nuns could be referred to as sisters in a religious order, in an abbey, or sorry, in an abbey, I suppose. And nuns, sisters, topless, take off the first letter in this case. We're left with uns. So we have uns and ound combined to make unsound or crazy. All right. Let me get rid of this selection here. What about this? Small, not so good, trait to follow. Small could be simply S. So that could be the beginning. Could be simply S for small. And then not so good, trail to follow. Could it be scent? You could follow a scent, follow a trail. Not so good. Small, not so good. Why is that? Why is that the answer? Sometimes you'll get something that seems like it should be the solution, but then you can't prove it. Let's see if I can get anywhere with this. Sci-fi character and certain Christian in opposition. In opposition could mean reversing a word. Does that help? One of the really challenging things about cryptic crosswords is they tend to have many fewer crosses than the standard New York Times style crossword, which is much more heavily crossed. As you can see, I'm not going to get any more help than I already have on this sci-fi character and certain Christian in opposition. Well, the certain Christian isn't going to be ST or saint. Neither of those any longer will fit. I wonder if scent is wrong. Sci-fi character could be android. Scent didn't seem right. I couldn't find any way to make that work. Sci-fi character and certain Christian in opposition. And could just be the word and. I mean, it could be certain Christian in opposition. Oh, wow. I was on the complete wrong track here. Well, I correctly mentioned that in opposition could mean reversing a word. So certain Christian would be Christian Dior, the, I guess, fashion designer. And if we put that in opposition, we reverse Dior, we get ROID, we get Royd, which is Dior in opposition, reversed. So we combine and that simply comes from the word and here, and that's it. And Royd makes android a sci-fi character. So this is certainly not scent. Small, not so good, trail to follow. Not so good, poor. Spore, no, that's not anything. Trail to follow. Smoke trail, not so good. Boy, I'm really not seeing that. What was this? They provide protection for long hair. They provide protection. Fire hoses or something? For long hair. It could be for simply for. They provide protection for long hair. Oh, tresses. Long hair could be your tresses, your long hair. So fortresses provide protection. They provide protection, fortresses. And then the word, that's the definition. The word play is simply for, the word for, that's it. Sometimes you get that. It's just the word directly in the clue. and here we had and, here we have for, and then long hair is tresses, so fortresses provide protection. All right. Does that help this at all? Small, not so good. Trail to follow. I mean, this really does look like spore. Is that small? So small could be S, not so good could be poor, trail to follow, spore. Is that a word? I'll have to assume it is, and it's just outside of my familiarity, which is entirely plausible. I'm going to leave it there because I think the wordplay pretty much confirms it. So here we have medical man rejected a German drug. Medical man rejected a German drug. Medical man rejected could be doc, and rejected could be another reversal. So if we take medical man doc and reject it, reverse it, we get cod a German. So, all right, if we assume that medical man rejected is indeed cod, that leaves us with very little wordplay left. All we have left then is a German drug. So at least one of these words has to be the definition. Let's assume the definition is drug. That means the entire rest of the clue has to be completed with a German. It could be that the A is just an A and then German is something here, but I don't see any way to make that work. So I think what this means is a German or a in German, eine, the indefinite singular article in German, essentially the English word a in German. And then that does create the name of a drug, codeine. So we have medical man rejected, cod, a German, eine makes drug, codeine. There we have it. Jaunty golfer at times. Jaunty. So the definition could be jaunty. Golfer at times. Oh, okay. I don't know much about golf, and I don't exactly know what this is, but I know that to chip is a kind of golf hit or swing, or maybe it's a kind of club. Maybe. So I'm assuming what this means is the definition is jaunty, and if you're jaunty, you're chipper. You're in a good mood. You're positive, and then a golfer at times is a chipper. Sometimes a golfer will need to chip the ball, I guess. I'm sorry. I know I'm hopeless when it comes to this sort of thing, but I do recognize that word enough to think this is the answer. Jaunty golfer at times, chipper. Okay, what about this? We haven't looked here yet. Byzantine Empire ruler, originally Chinese leader. Okay. If not for this P, I would have thought maybe the answer was emperor and the definition was Chinese leader. Obviously not current Chinese leader, but one-time Chinese leader. But it's obviously not because P is there. So maybe actually Chinese leader could be premier. And does that help us? Can we come up with some wordplay that justifies that? So Byzantine Empire ruler originally. Oh, yes. Okay, so Byzantine. This is very clever. So you'll get this kind of misdirection in cryptic crosswords absolutely all the time. Because we have determined, because we're in this space of rulers and leaders of countries or empires, we really want to read Byzantine as part of the Byzantine Empire. But in fact, Byzantine, in this case, is referring to, it's a word that derives from our name for the Byzantine Empire, but it's in the modern meaning of Byzantine as something that is overly bureaucratic or complex or interrelated or confusing. And so it's actually what this is telling us to do is to take the word empire and basically make it Byzantine, to rearrange the letters as an anagram indicator for empire. So we're going to rearrange the letters in empire, and we can see here EMPIRE. So we rearrange those, and then we get pre-me, basically. We have all of this except the R. The R comes from ruler originally. And this is another common operation in cryptic crosswords that we haven't encountered yet today, which is that we take simply the first letter of a word, and in this case, originally is telling us to take the first letter in the word ruler, and that's an R. So that'll be our final letter. So we have Byzantine Empire makes primi plus ruler originally makes R. All of that combines to create premier, or Chinese leader. And there we have it. What about this? Spark inside of steeple. So a steeple is a church spire. And so if we assume that that's part of the wordplay, that'll be the last element of the wordplay here. So we can put spire, and then inside of, what's an easier way to say inside of? It's simply the word in. So we just have inside of makes in, and then steeple makes spire, and that's it. And that gets us spark. You could spark somebody. You could inspire them to think of something or achieve something. It's a spark. Well, it's not a spark. It is the act to spark, to inspire. So that's our definition, and that's how we got there. Okay, spins or shakes cans. Oh, right, we glanced at this earlier, and I didn't come up with anything brilliant here. And have we looked at this? No, we haven't. Jog once around a body of water. So around a body of water makes me wonder if we're going to put something around the word sea, which is a body of water. Does that help? Jog once around a body of water. Not sure. Jog. Have we looked at this? No. Drawing together a cord on broken net. Drawing together a cord on broken net. Sorry, I'm getting some messages. Might have to pause this for a moment. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I don't need to stop doing the crossword, but I need to be attentive to my phone in case anything comes up, which is fine. All right. Drawing together a cord on broken net. Cord could be a string, a string, a chord, a string. That would make the definition drawing together. That's what I wanted the definition to be for some reason, drawing. That just seems more likely than broken net. What would a broken net be? It could simply be the word net, broken net. It could be net anagrammed. So it could be E-N-T. Actually, that's pretty plausible. I thought for a second that's not possible because for some reason the only way I could think of to anagram net was 10, and I thought, well, then that wouldn't be at the end of the word, but in fact, ENT is. So if we do that, we put that's the entire thing. Astringent. A string, no. That doesn't work. Oh, no, I just typed it incorrectly. It does work, does it? A string ent. Why is that drawing together? Astringent. Drawing together. So I don't quite understand the definition. I'm sorry. Drawing together a cord on broken net. Drawing together astringent. That must be the answer. It fits too perfectly. Not to be. That must be something about referring to how an astringent works and medically, or I suppose culinarily as well. Drawing together. I suppose if you put an astringent on your skin, it does sort of draw your pores closer, sort of tightens them. So maybe that's what that means. Sorry if I'm misinterpreting that. I think this must be the answer, though. What about this? Jog once about a body of water. Jog. Oh, it could be jog. It could be, now that I have an N here, this makes me think, I was going to think this was going to be around a body of water, so around sea or something, but I think now it's more likely to mean, it could be that, well, it could be either. Here's the thing. anagram indicators in cryptic crosswords can be almost anything. Almost anything could be a word telling you to rearrange another word. And what I mean by that in this case is that I could imagine once being anagrammed because we already have two of those 4 letters here and an E. So we need to put another C and E in there. Actually, I see what the answer is. But I could imagine either jog or around being an anagram indicator to once. I think it's probably jog. So if we anagram once, we could make CEAN. This looks like ocean, which is a body of water. So we have jog once, which is anagram the word once, and then around. Oh, sorry. I put A in there because I had intuited what the answer was going to be, but that was actually not part of the anagram. I just put it in there because I knew it was part of what's going to make ocean. But no, I see. It's that the anagram of once is not CEAN, obviously. It's OCEN, and then it's around, literally around the letter A. So I kind of skipped to the answer there a bit, but hopefully you can see where my train of thought was going. Once we realized that most likely jog once was going to be the beginning of the wordplay, body of water becomes the definition. An ocean is a body of water, and once you think you're anagramming once, it's easy to imagine that ocean is the final answer. We still needed an A, which I put in early, but that comes from literally being around the word A. And then the answer is body of water, or the definition. Okay, so does that help with this at all? Uh-oh, there's the doorbell. I might have to actually get that. Sorry, I'm going to pause. This time I'll actually pause the video. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Going to be slightly out of breath. I had to dash down to get the doorbell in time because someone was here with a parcel. Okay, going to resume. Right, where was I? Spins or shakes cans? Could spins be pivots, maybe? And something's inside of it? How would that make cans, though? Spins or well, actually, spins or shakes could be pivots. No, obviously it couldn't be. The reason it couldn't be is because if spins or shakes made, let's just type it in, if that made pivots, we would still need something else to go here, but now we've used all of the wordplay and all that's left would be the definition cans. And I can safely say cans is not P space IVOTS. So what would this be? Spins or shakes cans? Shakes cans. This really is the tough thing about cryptics. When you get to the end, if you can't solve something, you just don't get the benefit you get of the New York Times style crossword where you have all those crosses. Oh, hold on. So something that I always remembered, well, not always, something I generally remember to do when I'm solving a cryptic on my own, but I really have trouble remembering most of my strategies when I'm solving live because I think I have to be talking the whole time, is I sort of forget to do some of these little analytical things. So often what I'll do is I'll count the number of characters in various collections of words, and if they match the number of letters in the answer, because it's given, and you can count it yourself, obviously, of course, as well, then it's worth trying an anagram. And actually here, if we look at the letters in spins or, there are 7 letters in spins or, and shakes is quite a plausible anagram indicator. So what if we shake the letters spins or, we could then spell prisons. And of course, cans, you could say someone's in the can, they're in prison, so cans could be prisons. So now we have to return to my bane, this northwest little section of the grid up here. One endless line in both directions for something to drink. Why am I having so much trouble with this? Seek information in a collection of papers. Seek information in a collection of papers. One endless line in both directions. Okay. It really seems like this in both directions, I really want it to be L and R. In one endless line in both directions for something to drink. One endless. Could it be one endless, just O-N? I don't really see how that would go any. Oh, longer maybe? The problem is I keep coming up with things that seem like good components, but they don't end up matching any plausible definition that's specified in this clue. I really think the answer, I really think the definition is going to be something to drink. I can't be sure, but that's sort of my intuition. One endless line in both directions. One, here's something I haven't pointed out before. One is often I, because it's one in Roman numeral. So if we do, I'm really attached to this theory about in both directions, meaning that we have LR bookending the rest of the wordplay that's inside of it. So if we assume that's true, because I'm just going to say, let's assume it is for now, we could then put we would then start what's inside of it with one, or I, one in Roman numeral. And this sort of starts to look like liqueur, which is something to drink, but I have absolutely no idea why that is. Oh, I do see why that is the answer. See, it really is helpful in cryptic crosswords to just sort of type things in if you have an idea and see if you can then reverse engineer why it's true. So I was right. I was vindicated finally with this L and R in both directions, then one, which is just an I, and then endless line. So a line, this is more common in here in the UK, but it's known vocabulary. Queue for a line. You're standing in a queue, you're standing in a line, and if we take the word queue, which is Queue, and we make it endless, an endless line, we take off the end of the word, the final E, we're left with Queu without an E. And that one, I, Q, goes inside both directions, L and R, and it all spells liqueur. And that makes me think that seek information is inquire, but I have no idea why. So that would make seek information the definition, and then in a collection of papers. Why is that true? Well, in could just be in. So we have seek information is inquire, and then in. Oh, is a collection of paper acquire? Is that maybe an archaic term, choir? Is that what that is? A collection of papers? I think I'm going to have to assume it is. Will this work? Oh, we're not done with the puzzle. We have one more. Sorry, I completely forgot this last. I think this is probably the case. I think a collection of papers is probably choir. That's sort of, there's something about that looks right to me, but it's not, I'm not familiar enough with that vocabulary to be able to be 100% confident, but I think this is probably correct. Thanks to liqueur. I don't know that I would have, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have gotten that if I hadn't. Is that how you spell liqueur? Have I spelled this right? Yes, sorry, I'm starting to really doubt myself in every direction, but I believe this all looks correct to me. So let's jump down here. Misbehaving child is aberrant every second. Okay. Well, misbehaving child, you can probably guess what this is going to be in 4 letters with these crosses, but let's explain why. So misbehaving child is the definition. Every second, I'm glad we got this. This is a new for this video so far, a new category of cryptic crossword clue, which is I don't know what you'd call it, a sort of alternation clue or something like that. Sometimes you'll see this with the word regularly or intermittent or something like that. And what it means is we're going to take, in this case, every second letter. You could imagine a version of this that said every third or something. And then you take every third letter. But in this case, we're going to take every second letter. And if we take every second letter in the word aberrant, we get B, R, A, and T. And that spells brat, which is a misbehaving child. And I hope and it is. Okay. We've solved the cryptic crossword. It took an entire hour, which is not great, but I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope it was helpful if you're interested in solving cryptic crosswords. Oops, excuse me. I'm sorry. If you're interested in solving cryptic crosswords yourself, I hope this video was useful to introduce you to some of the more common types of clues in cryptic crosswords. I mean, despite my struggle here, this wasn't a particularly brutal cryptic crossword, even though I know it may not seem that way. I mean, I obviously struggled with it, because I'm not any kind of expert at cryptic crosswords. And if you've never solved a cryptic crossword before, this probably seems absolutely inscrutable, and it kind of is. I mean, I understand that, but this is relative to a full-scale daily cryptic crossword in a major UK newspaper. This is on the gentle side, I would say. And if you're interested in cryptic crosswords that are probably around this level of difficulty, the Times of London, not the New York Times, the Times, it's just the Times, which in the US is often referred to as the Times of London. They have I think, daily or almost daily crossword called the Quick Cryptic, which I tend to solve most of the time, and it is, as the name suggests, it's a bit easier than the full-scale Times cryptic crossword. So maybe investigate that if you're interested in doing more of these. And the New York Times seems to do about one of these a month, roughly. I'm not sure exactly what their cryptic crossword schedule is. Maybe once every 6 weeks or something. But if you like these and you'd like to see me solve more of them, let me know. It is sort of painful to have to spend an hour solving a crossword of this size on this channel, given that I really feel it shouldn't take me this long. But like I said, I'm not any kind of pro when it comes to cryptics. I'm still sort of getting to grips with them myself. So this is just the reality, I suppose. But if you enjoyed that and you'd like to see more, let me know, and I'll try and do that. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and please do come back to the channel. Please do subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon with more solves. Take care.